This is Decoded, AI for Everyone, the podcast that makes sense of artificial intelligence, not just in your pocket, but in your world.
Five, 8, 2... Wait.
Left of the 2nd Street. Don't forget the meeting at...
What was that word again?
Do you remember the last phone number you memorized? Or the last time you navigated somewhere without GPS? Or the last time you wrote something without assistance? This is Decoded, AI for Everyone. I'm Joel Leslie, and today we're talking about something subtle. Not what AI can do, but what happens to our minds when we start letting it do more of the thinking. In everyday life, we already rely on tools to carry part of the mental load. Your phone remembers phone numbers. Your calendar remembers appointments. Navigation apps remember the route. Search engines remember facts. And increasingly, AI remembers the context of our work. It drafts emails, summarizes long reports, suggests responses, organizes information. Psychologists call this cognitive offloading. It simply means letting tools handle part of the thinking process. And in many ways, that's incredibly useful. The human brain has limits. Offloading routine tasks frees up mental space. But there's a deeper question. When tools take on more cognitive work, what happens to the habits of thinking we used to practice? Humans have always extended their minds through tools. One of the best historical examples is the printing press. When printing spread across Europe in the 1400s, some scholars worried that something important would be lost. If books could store knowledge, why would people bother remembering anything? Before printed books were widely available, scholars and storytellers often memorized enormous amounts of information. Long poems, religious texts, entire histories. And to some extent, memory skills did change. People no longer needed to store everything in their heads. But something else happened too. As written knowledge became more accessible, people began doing something different with information. Instead of memorizing it, they analysed it, compared it, built new ideas from it. The brain didn't become weaker, it adapted. Part of its energy moved away from memorization and toward higher forms of thinking. Something similar happened much more recently with calculators. When calculators became widely available, many people worried that students would forget how to count. If a machine could do the arithmetic instantly, what would happen to mathematics? But that's not what happened. Calculators didn't replace mathematics. They allowed people to work with much more complex problems. Think about an accountant preparing a tax return. The accountant doesn't simply take numbers from a calculator and submit them directly to the tax office. The calculator helps perform the arithmetic quickly and accurately. But the accountant still understands the logic behind the numbers. They interpret them, check them, apply judgment. The calculator is a tool that supports thinking, not a substitute for it. AI is similar to those earlier tools in one important way. It helps extend our capabilities. But it's also different in another. A calculator helps you compute. AI can help you think. It can draft ideas, summarize arguments, propose solutions, suggest strategies. In many situations, that's incredibly powerful. But it also changes the shape of the thinking process. When AI generates the first draft, or the summary, or the initial idea, we sometimes skip the early stages of thinking ourselves. And those early stages are often where intuition develops. Intuition often feels mysterious, but is usually built from experience, thousands of small mental repetitions. Writers develop intuition by writing. Designers develop taste by making design choices. Strategists develop judgment by evaluating different possibilities. Each repetition strengthens the mental patterns that shape good judgment. When AI performs more of the early thinking steps, we may practice those steps less often. That doesn't mean intuition disappears, but it may develop differently. The question becomes, which parts of thinking should we keep practicing ourselves? This is where a quiet ethical question appears. From one perspective, offloading thinking is efficient. AI can reduce cognitive load, help avoid mistakes, accelerate work. From that perspective, offloading seems beneficial. But there's another perspective. Do we have some responsibility to exercise our own judgment? Not because machines are dangerous, but because judgment is part of what it means to think well. And beyond responsibility, there's character. The habits we practice shape the kind of thinkers we become. Convenience creates habits, and habits shape how we approach decisions. It's important to be clear. Cognitive offloading isn't inherently bad. In fact, it's often extremely valuable. AI can help us organize complex information, spot patterns we might miss, explore alternative ideas quickly, reduce routine mental workload. In many cases, AI can help us think better, not less. The real question isn't whether we offload thinking. The question is which parts of thinking we choose to keep engaged. So what does this mean in everyday life? A few simple habits can make a difference. First, occasionally recall information before asking AI. Second, write your first thought before asking for suggestions. Third, use AI to refine ideas rather than generate them entirely. Fourth, read the full source sometimes, instead of only the summary. And fifth, protect time for uninterrupted thinking. These aren't strict rules. They're small ways of maintaining cognitive fitness. Just like physical fitness, the mind stays sharp when it continues to practice. The printing press didn't destroy human memory. Calculators didn't destroy mathematics. They changed how we use our minds. AI will likely do the same. The goal was never to compete with machines. The goal was always to think well. AI can help us do that, but only if we remember that it's a tool, not the thinker. Next time on Decoded, we look at creativity and originality, AI as collaborator, accelerator, and filter. We ask what creativity becomes when resistance disappears. For resources, tools, frameworks, and AI comparisons, visit promptengineeringcookbook.com. This is Decoded, AI for everyone. I'm Joel Leslie. Stay aware, stay intentional, stay human. Thanks for listening.